Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 7 of my Android development tutorial for beginners. Today, I'm going to show you how to draw icons using Inkscape. And if you've never used Inkscape before, you can try to follow along. Otherwise, in the description for this video, I have a massive tutorial on how to use Inkscape. But if we're going to make applications and we want them to be customized, we're going to need a way to draw our components. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is going to be the toolbar that we're going to be drawing here, and here we have a little cloud that's going to represent weather. This is a camera, this is video, this is a voice recorder, this is going to be location and maps, and this is going to be YouTube. So what I'm going to do here is I just took a piece of paper and real quickly I drew those guys out. Now what I'm going to do is import an image, and you can see it right here. It's a JPEG called Icon Scan, and I'm just going to select that, and this guy's going to open up. I'm going to hit OK, and like I said, I'm using Inkscape. That is the tool I'm using. It's free, and it's just about as good as Adobe Illustrator. I did a massive tutorial on it previously to cover drawing interfaces and drawing things that we're going to need for applications. And right now I'm scaling it by holding down the Control key and grabbing the little scrollers there, or whatever you want to call them. Now over here I have a regular old layer which is going to hold all of my images I'm going to be drawing on, and then on top of that I have my drawing layer which is on top. Now since I have that image in there and I don't want it to move around, what I'm going to do is click on this and it's going to be locked. Now I'm going to jump over into my drawing layer, and to add layers all you got to do is go down here and hit add. And of course you're going to be able to move layers up and down by pressing on these little buttons here or delete them all together. Another thing I want to do though first, before I lock this, is unlock it, come down here, and I am going to change the opacity on this so that it's not quite so dark. Here is opacity, and let's take it way down. Let's take it down to, I don't know, 29 right there. I don't know, I'm just playing around here. And that is going to allow me to better see my strokes as I draw these little images. So come back inside of here and lock that. Then I'm going to go in my drawing layer and I'm going to go down into opacity again, and let's take this down to say 50%. That's also going to aid me in being able to see what I'm doing here. Alright, so the very first thing we got here is our little cloud. So I'm going to zoom in on that by just clicking on Z, and then there it is. There is our cloud. Let's zoom in again, and there it is. I'm going to come over here to the Bezier Tool, which is right here. Click on that. So as you can see, yes, there was a reason for me to do an Inkscape tutorial. Now I'm just going to draw this. So I'm just going to click, and I'm going to click. And I'm not going to worry too much right now about how the paths look. I'm just going to rough them in here, and I'm pretty much going to allow Inkscape to define what I am doing path-wise, because it's going to keep the paths really, really nice. And yes, indeed, I do consider this to be an Android tutorial, even though it's about drawing, because we're going to have to draw stuff. And there we go. And here is our cloud. And to change it to black, we're going to come down here and just click on black. And then I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click on the little X, and that's going to make the stroke go away from our cloud. And right there, that looks pretty good to me. Well, now I need to draw these things. Now I could go in with a Bezier tool and draw this sort of rain if I wanted to, but what I want to do is try something a little bit different. So Bezier tool again, that's this guy, shortcut B. And I'm going to try not to use shortcuts because I'm not 100% certain if everybody knows Inkscape, but naturally I just use them. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to come in here and I'm going to click and come down here and double click, and that's going to make a stroke for me. Now I'm going to make kind of an easy way of doing this. If you want to get the fills and the strokes to come up, you just press on this guy and that opens up fill and stroke. If you want to open up the layers panel, go over to layer and come down here to layers and click on that. That's how you open up those guys. So now I have this stroke, and if I want to increase the size of it, go into stroke style and let's just take it up a lot. So let's say, I don't know, let's try 40. Okay, that's too big. Alright, so let's take it down some. Let's try 30. And right around 18.3 is what I was shooting for. Then what I'm going to do is go in here to the cap because I want part of it to be rounded off. So I'm going to click on that. And now you can see that they are both rounded off at the edges. Now what I need to do is actually convert this into an object. To do that, I'm going to come up here to path and say stroke to path. Right like that. And now, if I go over to the node tool, which is this, again, if you're completely lost, that's because you haven't seen my Inkscape tutorial, go check it out. because you guys have to know how to do this stuff if you want to make Android apps. Okay, so now you can see that it's no longer a stroke because it has these little dots here, and we're going to then chop off the top. And to chop off the top, what I'm going to do first is drag this down here a little bit, go over here to the rectangle tool, click on that, and I'm going to draw a rectangle over top of it. Now to chop the top off of this, I'm going to select both of them, go up into Path, and then I'm going to go Difference. Boink. And now I have exactly what I wanted in a very nice, easy little package. If I want to duplicate this, I'm just going to hold down my mouse button, hold down Control and either Option or Alt. If you're on a Mac or you're on Windows or you're on Linux, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to hit the space bar once, and then I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to hit the space bar again, and drag it, and another space bar, and another space bar. Oh, I don't need to do that last one, so let's just delete it. And there we go. There's our cloud, all nicely drawn inside of there. Next thing we're going to draw is our camera. For that, I'm going to use the rectangle tool right here, and I'm just going to, come in here and sort of estimate what we're going to do here. And as you can see, since the top has an opacity, you're going to be able to see the bottom, and since the bottom has no opacity, it's not going to be overbearing. Now what I want to do is, well, I want to switch back over into my node tool, this right here. And since I want it to curve, I'm going to come up here to this guy and drag that down and put a little bit of curve in there. Deselect off of that, go back into the Bezier tool, again hit B, and like I said, just estimating this, I'm going to hold down the Control key. That's sort of going to allow me to move in steps whenever I'm drawing this, and hopefully they will be equal. Click here, and then double click there, and there we go, we have that. Perfect. I'm going to go and make it black by coming down here, clicking on black, and then holding down the Shift key and hitting X. That's for the stroke, and there it is. Now if I want to combine these two guys, I'm going to have to put a big selection around all of them, go back up into Path, and go Union. And this is how I do it. Now it's all one big object. Have to get this little cutout right here. And like I said, I just drew this very, very quickly. Well, we got to get this one up here too. So let's do that first. Bezier tool again. We're going to come in. If you can't see, click, hold down the Control key, click, 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 double click. All right, come down here. There we are. Whoop, there my little Apple stuff popped up. I'm going to hold down the Shift key X and then hold down this, and now it is what should be black. Well, I had to have it selected first. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry, I'm being a little bit of a goofball here. Let's come down again. Hold down the Shift key X and then this, and it worked that time. Okay, so we're going to select everything here, and we're going to go into Path, and we're going to do another union. So there we go. Now I got to cut this little part out. Rectangle tool again, come in here, draw that inside of there, and this time I'm going to make this white, and I don't like that curve. It's too much of a curve, so let's come up here and get rid of some of the curve. There we go. Come over here, go like this, select everything, go into Path, and go Difference. And now there is going to be nothing inside of that. Then I got to create this big circle here, hold down the E for the shortcut for ellipse, hold down Control and Shift, and that's going to make it grow from the middle. There's that big giant thing. Select everything again, go up into Path again, and go Difference. And what that's going to allow is the background that this icon is going to be on top of, we're going to be able to see the background color, because that normally works best. Ellipse tool again, come into the center here roughly, Control and Shift, draw that inside of there, and let's make it black. And then probably want to do a Control G to group everything so it's all in one piece. So there we go. Got our camera, and we got our other thing. Can you believe I forgot what I drew first? Hold down the Shift key to zoom out. That's a good thing to do. And let's come over here. Oh, I drew my little rain cloud. Okay, so that's going to be the weather. Okay, zoom in again. Now we're going to draw this sort of like film strip that we have here. Rectangle tool again. Come up here. I like the nice little curve on this. Drop that inside of there. Go to the selection tool by hitting S or by clicking on this little arrow up here. And let's enlarge it a little bit. That looks pretty good. Now I need to draw those rectangles inside of there, so I'm going to do that. Rectangle, there it is. And let's make it white. And there that is. And then what I'm going to do, why don't we just go and draw all of them right now. So again, hold down Control and either Alt or Option, and also, of course, click on your shape, hit the space bar, drag it down roughly to where it needs to go, and drag it down again, and drag it down again, and drag it down again. And that looks about right. Now we want to have them in equal space apart, so we're going to hold down the Shift key, click on all of them. All of them are selected. Then we want to get Align and Distribute. Where is that hidden? I believe it's here. Yes, it is. Under Object, right there. To make this little bar or little menu pop up, we're going to click on Align Distribute, and this is going to show up. This guy right here. So I want them an equal distance apart from each other. So I'm going to click on this, and now they should be an equal distance apart. I'm going to keep this selected, hold down Control and Alt or Option at the same time, hit spacebar, drag over here, and there we go. Now we can draw in, and this is basically trying to look like a film strip if you're wondering what this is. Get the Bezier tool again, click up here, hold down the Control key, click here, come up here, and then double click. And there that is. Let's make it white, and now it's white. Now we can come in here, select this, select the image here, go up into Path and Difference. Now they're one. Select this, and then we can go into Path and Difference. Select this. Now there's a shortcut for difference. It's Control, negative sign. Select this as well. Control, negative sign. Shift, select. Control, negative sign. Shift, select. Control, negative sign. Shift. Control, negative sign. Control, negative sign. Control, negative sign. Control, negative sign. And Control, negative sign. And there we go. Now we got 3 icons out of the way. Let's look at what's over here. Now we got a little microphone sort of thing. Again, going to use my rectangle tool, and I'm going to sort of estimate what this is going to look like. Oh, I shouldn't have made that black or white. Let's get rid of that. Go over and make it black instead. Now I can see it. And get my selection tool. I'll be able to move it now. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool, which is going to allow me to smooth these edges. Grab that, drag it down like this, and there we go. Perfect. Now for this guy down here, I could draw the whole entire thing, but odds are if I do that, one side's going to be different from the other. So instead what I'm going to do is get my Bezier tool, click here, hold down the Control key, click here, and then I'm going to go down here to the center of this. You could use guides, and if this was a professional app, I would be using guides, but I'm not going to for now. And let's go like that. And then it's going to give me this sort of weird curve, but I'm just going to ignore that for now. Click down here, hold down the Control key, click here, click here, click here, click here. And then I'm going to come the whole way up here, click on this, and I'm zoomed in right now, so I might get a weird result, meaning I'm zoomed in with my video capturing software. That's pretty good. Alright, so that's looking pretty good except for this part. Get the node tool. I'm going to click right here on this weird guy. Just drag it in the whole entire way. And whenever you do, it'll go away. And there you go. Still have that path. And this is straight, so everything's looking good. So now, let's hold down the Shift key to get rid of the stroke. Click on the X. Now it's black. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, Control, and then Alt or Option key, and then space. Make a duplication of it. Then I'm going to come over here to Object. Scroll way down here and go flip horizontal. Well, didn't make a copy of it now, did it? Let's go back and do that again. So Control Z to undo it. Control Alt Option and space. Let's see that it made a copy this time. Didn't. Oh, you doggone thing. So let's just drag it over here. Space. Now it made a copy. And then we got this, and we'll go into Object again, and we will go into Flip Horizontal. And there it is, and we'll just drag it out here till the 2 inner parts meet while holding down the Control key. And we're going to look right here. We're going to see there's a little bit of a space. Let's see if it corrects itself by doing that. Kind of. And then we'll go in here and select both of these. And then we'll go Path. And then we will go Union. That's going to join them together. If you wanted to really be a stickler about this, you could get your node tool over here. Click on this guy. And then zoom in and click around here to see if the nodes are bad. You could delete them, you could do whatever. But I think they are pretty doggone good, especially because this icon's going to be shrunk dramatically down in size. So I think we'll have no problem seeing it. Hold down the Shift key to zoom out, and we'll see what else we got to do. Alright, so we got to do our little map thingy here, and we got to do our YouTube logo. So there we go. Zoom in on this guy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the star tool that's over here, and the shortcut for that is Shift 8 or star, and I'm just going to draw in a triangle. It's going to be roughly the same way. There that is. Put it in here roughly. Select the node tool by hitting on N, and if we go and move this in, it's going to mess that up. So let's hit Control Z, get rid of that. We're going to go into Path and go Object to Path, which is going to put those little nodes on there. See, now there's little nodes on there. Now we can stretch this one without affecting the other ones. Also, what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this node and this node because it's going to cause me problems. To get rid of them, we go into Path and we go into Simplify. Where's Simplify? There it is. And now you can see that those extra nodes are no longer there. And now what I'm going to do is just grab this, drag it down here roughly. I'll deal with these paths here in a second. Drag that down there. Unless you like this look, it's totally up to you. Like that. And then I'm going to get rid of it. So I'm just going to drag in these guys to make them go away. Make it go away. Get rid of that curve altogether. Get rid of that curve. Let's select this. Get rid of this curve. Get rid of this curve. And now we're left with this. And I kind of like the curve there on the edges. So I'm going to leave that there. Go into the Ellipse Tool right here. Come in the middle. And I'm going to draw this. Hold down Shift and Control. It's going to draw it from the center point outwards. And I'm just going to convert this into a stroke. This time I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click on black down here. So Shift, black, that affects the stroke. Regular X gets rid of it. You can see there's nothing there. Over here to fill stroke. There we are. There this is. If we want to add the stroke, just click on this. And there we can see that it's not quite big enough. Go into stroke style, and I'm going to be increasing this guy right here by clicking on this button. And I'm going to click on that button until it's about the right size. Right there, looks just about the right size. I'm going to put these little notches inside of here. I'm just going to do that with a rectangle tool. Like this. Maybe I can get something interesting going on. That's kind of interesting. Again, come down here, click on, or hold down Shift, get rid of the stroke, then click on that for the black, and now it's a nice little shape. So I want to move it up. Kind of interesting. Select the shape, hold down, Control, Alt, Option, and space. Drag it down here, and just drop it there. Now I'm going to do a copy and paste, and a Control V. There you go. Got it that time. Got it over here, and now if we click on it, we're going to be able to rotate it. So hold down the Control so that it rotates in a nice way, and then we'll just sort of like move it in here. And again, we're going to select, hold with our mouse, Control, Alt, Option, space. Drag it over here, and let's see what we got. Looks pretty good. So there's our map. Now the only thing left for us to do is the little YouTube logo that's going to open up YouTube videos. And I might add other icons here, but this is going to be a big app we're going to be working with. Now ahead of time I don't have the exact font for YouTube, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal because I'm not selling this. I did find that a font called Headline A is kind of similar to it. Click on Text, Text Font. If you didn't see that, Text, and then Text Font. Here, I'll show you. Text, Text Font. That opens up the text font thing. There is a font called Headline A, which is kind of similar, so I'm just going to use that for now. Like I said, I'm not going to sell this or anything. You can actually buy the YouTube font, and that looks good enough for me. And we're going to go YOU. Kind of big, so let's shrink that down in size a little bit. Up here, the font size, and I don't know, let's make it 20. I don't know, that's probably too small. It is. So we're going to select it and hold it down the Control key and enlarge it and go over here and put it into place. So there's that, and I don't know, shrink it down a little bit maybe. Just trying to fit the rough guidelines of what I drew with a pencil in about 5 minutes. Not even, I drew all these easily in 5 minutes. Okay, so there's the U, and then if we want the tube, T-U-B-E, there that is. If we want it to be the same size, select this, select text. That's this over here, text, and then we're going to come up to font size and go 69.45, hit enter, and there it is. Okay, so does that look good? Looks really close, and really close is good enough. Then we're going to get our rectangle tool. We're going to draw roughly what this little box here looks like. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to make it curve a little bit more. I'm going to select this box right here. I'm going to move it backwards by clicking on the object up here. I'm then going to lower to bottom like that. That's going to put it behind the tube letters. There they are. Then I need to take the text that's here, go up into path, and call it or convert it from an object to a path like that. Select our node tool. Let's go and convert those letters to white so we can see them better. And there you can see right there. And now we need to go path, object to path. Okay, they are that way. Then go and click on the node tool. There they go. And then what I'm going to do, I think I have these ungrouped. Let's see. No, they're still in a group. So I'm going to go object up here and ungroup. And now I should be able to select them individually, and I can. So select this, and then we're going to go path and difference to cut those out. And then select the U part, path difference, cut those out. Select the B, path difference. Select the E with the shift key held down, path difference. And there we go. And we can drag that off of there. And it doesn't look exactly like the YouTube logo, but whenever it's less than an inch in size, it's going to look perfectly fine. And we have drawn everything. So now we can go into layers right here, and we can click on the layer 1 right here, click on unlock, could select all the things we are drawing off of, and there those guys are. Click on our drawing layer and increase the opacity to 100%. Also come in here to all of these guys now, select them, and make them all the same color. So that's going to be black. Somehow these little dots ended up not being black, so let's select them, convert them to black. Over here, fill and stroke. The opacity on those is at 57.3, increase that to 100%. Select this one too, change this to 100%, and there we go. We drew all of those different logos to be used. And I'm going to increase the stroke on this, of course. So let's go into this and increase it a little bit so that it looks a little bit nicer. And that looks very similar to what I have up here. And then to make these little gradient buttons, I haven't decided if I'm going to use them or not, but just to give you a rough idea of what that's going to be like, let's draw a rectangle on the screen, hold down the control key to make it into a square. If I want to change it into a gradient, go into fill, click on this for gradient. And then what I'm going to do is get the gradient tool, which is just a letter G, but select it like that. Then I'm going to be able to grab this guy, move it around a little bit. So let's move the black down here. This is actually transparent. Well, let's go and move it the whole way up here. Go over into our gradient tool, and then we're going to say edit like that. And I can just click on this guy right here if you can't see what I'm doing. I just clicked on this. There it is. Got that right there. Come down here, move the alpha the whole way up. Now you can see it's totally black. And let's say that I want to make it gray. Let's just go 120, 120. Oops. Make sure you can see 120. See what that looks like. Okay, so that's very, 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 very dark. And we can come in here, maybe this black that we have here. Let's increase it. Maybe we'll have to flip the gradient. Who knows? 194. See what that looks like. Very similar. So let's come in here and do like 220, 220, and I'm just getting closer and closer to white. Oh, what the heck? Let's just make them all white. There it is. There that is. There, now it's white. And that is how we change the gradient. So if you never saw Inkscape before, chances are you already left this tutorial, but let's just flip this around so that it looks like what we had here before. Gradient tool. Let's grab this guy, move him down here, grab this guy, move him up here, da 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 da, and there you go. That is the same as that. Now you just have to move your little icons into place, and if you've never seen guides before, you just click up here where the little ruler is, and you click and hold, and you can drag out guides if you want to make sure that all of these line up. So there is a tutorial on how to create the icons we're going to use throughout the rest or in the next app that we make in this tutorial series. Please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.